What's going on, guys? It's Tony K with UGSM, living the dream as always. And today I want to tell you about a great stop that you should make part of your trip to Chicago. That is the Color Factory. Let's talk about it. Color Factory is located at the bottom of the Willis or Sears Tower, whatever you want to call it. This is a picture of the outside wall, lets you know that you're there. When you first walk in, you get greeted by someone who kind of gives you the registration and all that. This is one of the first displays you see. It was a really cool built-in-the-wall box display with different colors and then mirrors in each one. And then you walk down this tunnel, and from this point forward, the best way I can describe this is that it's super fun, but the amount of color and just different ways that it was used was so cool. Definitely made it a unique experience. This tunnel here, a great example of what's to come. Overall, there was about 10 different exhibits. This was the first one once we got past that tunnel, and it was a room full of mirrors and then different objects and whatnot that were painted in this. I mean, look at that. Look how cool that is. And just mirrors and things like this. You could climb on stuff here. I definitely did. But really, from there, like I said, I don't want to show you guys everything because I want there to be some surprises. But it was just so fun. Like, this room had all these different color horns. Each color horn corresponded to either a different type of instrument or something like that. When you walk by, there was a sensor and they'd start playing at different pitches, the same song. Really cool experience. This one room had all these fans on the ground that they would have balloons, shooting air up, and you could play with them. The only real rule was like don't punch and kick them, don't try and pop. This room was super cool because you walk in, it's got all the different color stations. You and your guests, you go on opposite sides, and it's almost like the prison communication room. You go in, put on the headphones, and they start giving you instructions on what you're going to do. The main thing I like about this room, aside from the activity, is again, just look at how simple the color is, but how vibrant the room is. That was really the feel for the whole experience. Was very simple, but creative and fun ways to have the experience. The last stop of the experience is this giant ball pit room. We went on a Monday at about 10:30, and so we didn't like. This was just about everyone else who was there, and a lot of the kids like they got through the exhibit, and there's no running in certain rooms or things like that. The ball pit room is where they got to have all their fun. We tried hanging out, but it was really hard being the only two adults that were without kids going through the ball pit room. We did get a few pictures of us going down that slide. So my overall takeaway from this was a super fun experience. Going beginning of the week at 10:30 in the morning when kids are going back to school and whatnot made it so there wasn't really a lot of people there. We could take our time. There was a couple of rooms I didn't show you that we spent more time in than others. We were there for close to 2 hours. For me personally, the biggest surprise was that when we walked in that first room, I thought it was going to be a little bit more bougie or upscale. I didn't think it was going to be as interactive or as fun as it turned out being. And again, I like just adding these pictures here without context, so you guys are like, man, there's a lot of color in this place. Again, it was really simple things they did that added such a great feel to it. Now, although we were there for a while and it was a lot of fun, I do wish there was a couple more things that we could have done. The last two or three exhibits were super fun, super interactive, and they ended it with a great bang. But like, I wish it was a little bit longer. I could have spent more time in this place easily. But even with that in mind, there's a few things that they did that maybe it's because I don't go to too many museums in the big city that felt pretty cool. One of them is right up here. If you look right over there, there's that little box that's hanging. It's got a screen on it. So when you first walk in, you have to register with just your first, last name, and your email, and they give you these little cards that have a QR code on the back. You walk throughout the museum, and there are spots that'll scan your QR code, and then that machine up there is actually a camera that'll take your picture and send it to your email. That was super cool because just about every exhibit had at least one or two of those. Some of them had more. There was one or two exhibits that didn't have any, but that's because it was a different kind. Like one of them, you had to taste stuff. But I thought that was a really cool little inclusion. The other thing is when we got to this room, there's actually like a booth on each side. One of them was free stuff you get, so I got like a little pin that had a bunch of colors on the color wheel, and then you could get like a bumper sticker or a pen. And then the other booth was they would give you some ice cream for the day, and it was the color of the day. Today's color was when we went was actually like melon green. So we had melon ice cream and it was delicious. Absolutely amazing. Overall 10 out of 10. I loved going here. This was super fun. Um, I like I've said, I wish it was a little bit longer, but that's because we were having so much fun that when we got to the end, it's like, oh, this sucks. We're at the end. If you know you're going to be in Chicago with your kids or with family and you're looking for something kind of light and fun to do, this is a great experience. And Willis or Sears Tower, whatever you want to call it, there are some other things you can do there as well as restaurants. So that was kind of cool that if you get done and you don't want to go to a different building, you can just take the elevator upstairs and they have a great selection of other things to do. There is a gift shop here at the Color Factory. We got a couple of things, but I didn't get any pictures. My number one suggestion is go early. I think that us going early during the week, when there wasn't a ton of people or a ton of kids there, made it so we could take our time. We didn't bump into people. There were several exhibits where we did not have anyone else around us for a good portion of the time that we were in there. I thought that really added to our experience. It felt like we had the place ourselves a lot, which in Chicago is not the easiest thing to feel. So take that. I don't recommend making this the only stop on your trip. Have a few other things to do, but this is definitely, especially if you got kids, this is a great place to go. I've said it a few times, and I've told everyone who's asked me about it. The simplicity of what they did, but how it turned out, how they made it so you could interact with it, and the experience it provided, I was blown away. I did not expect it to be as much fun as it was. Like I said, 10 out of 10. Super recommend going.